Generation Mining is in the process of final permitting on a palladium and copper mine in northern Ontario, and it's a little over $1 billion build. It's going to be producing 41 million pounds of copper and 166,000 ounces of palladium a year. So it's a big mine, and it's located just near the big Hemlo gold mining operation in off the Trans-Canada Highway. We probably couldn't have a better location for a mine. The Trans-Canada Highway goes right through our property, as does the CPR main rail line. And a few kilometers south of the property is the town of Marathon, which currently services Hemlo. There's also an airport on our property, a commercial airport, and there's a power line, a major power line comes right through our property. We're going to be able to tie into grid power in Ontario, which is essentially carbon-free, by building a 2-kilometer long power line. So infrastructure-wise, it just doesn't get any better. We had a 2-phase permitting process, which no Ontario mining company's ever gone through before. And we got through phase 1 of that in November of last year. That was called the Joint Review Panel, and that was a federal provincial review. And then that permitted us to start applying for our permits, which we started doing earlier this year. And now we have all but 2 or 3 of our permits. We got 2 more in the last 2 weeks. And we expect to have all of them by February in 2024. So we're going to be shovel ready at that time. We've hit a bit of a trough in the palladium price. Anybody who follows palladium knows that. It's gone from over $2,000 an ounce down to almost $1,000 an ounce. So at that price, we need a little bit higher price in order to start building. Or the price of copper to go up. We're also a copper mine. We produce both. So we need one of the other to go up, and then we're ready to go. We've been arranging all of the financing, so we've got, as I said, it's about $1 billion project, so we've got $400 million in bank financing lined up. We've got $100 million leasing money from Caterpillar. We've got $200 million coming from Wheaton Precious Metals as a stream. And we're also working on some government initiatives in these critical minerals program that the federal government has been putting together. So we've got most of the money arranged. We're still going to have to do a little bit more, and we're waiting for a little bit better palladium price to do that. But we're going to have everything else ready to go before that happens. So palladium is a relatively simple metal in that most of it goes to one thing, and that's the catalytic converters in cars. And the catalytic converter uses about 5 grams per automobile. Although hybrid cars use 6 to 7 grams. So they use more because they need more because they don't burn as hot. And we're in a transition period towards electric cars, but what people don't realize is that hybrid cars are vastly outselling electric cars. And they're making up the palladium that's not going into the electric cars. But that still, the electric car sentiment has got people thinking down, that the price is going to go down. Other things that are happening is you've got the South African mines are producing less because of power shortages in South Africa. You've got Impala now just had a tragic accident, and they're shutting down their mine. The Stillwater mine had an accident, and they shut down for a while in the United States. So mine production is down, but price is down. So why is that happening? And the rumor is, or the speculation is, and I have no proof, but the country Russia has a stockpile of palladium, and a legacy that they've had for when the government owned the mines in Russia. And the rumor is that they've been doing some selling. I don't have proof of that, but that's a real possibility, because when production's down and consumption is flat, prices should be strong, but it's not happening. So we expect a rebound at some point. I can't tell you when that's going to happen. It may take up till the end of the war in Russia. I don't know. So the short selling story, which has been coming around for about 10 years now, at first I didn't pay any attention to it. It didn't affect me. I didn't I didn't know whether it was true or not. And then I saw it happen to our company last year. With 1 second to go in trading every day for weeks, somebody would hit the stock and push the price down, which could only be a short seller. Why would anyone else do that, go to that effort? So I started to believe that it's actually happening, and it actually makes sense because these companies are thinly traded, a lot of them. It's very easy to push the price down, and especially if they're doing naked shorting, which is illegal. The shorting itself is legal, but the naked shorting is not. And but often you can't borrow stock to cover your short with these junior stocks, so they just don't. And that's called a naked short. And if people are doing it from offshore, they can't get charged. It's kind of a license to print money. So I think that the government and I've actually had a conversation with people in the Ontario government about trying to get that rule, because up until 2012 you could only short on an uptick, and Australia has that rule, and that's one of the reasons Australia's junior mining sector is so much stronger than Canada's. Is they can only short on an uptick, so you can't push the price of the shares down. Well, we've got in our feasibility study, we have a net present value of just over $1 billion Canadian dollars, and yet we've got a market capitalization right now of about $70 million, which is 7% of the net present value. Now that net present value was at a higher palladium price, but nevertheless, that was the average price of quite a long period of time before that. And if it does come back to the average price, we expect that this would be an opportune time to get into the stock. If you believe palladium is going to come back, we should come back. And if we come back, it could be a multiple. We're trading at around 22 cents, I believe. Last I looked at 23 cents. I mean, it could easily go back to $1, where it was not very long ago. So next year we plan to be building the mine, hopefully, given a little bit of a juice in the palladium price, and get our final permits in February and arrange the rest of the financing going through the year and get building. And if we don't start building the mine, we could at least start clearing trees, putting in the road, doing some of the initial work. We are going to build the mine.